Hello, people. How are you doing? I have Tiffany joining us today. Hope everybody is doing okay. I'm doing fine. Okay. So, she's going to be joining us today. Just hit the follow button. I got you. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to do this interview.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We got some questions to ask you, about your musical journey. Welcome to El3vation Radio Podcast. How are you doing?
Doing good. Hello to everyone who has logged on.
Oh, yes, definitely. So, first I want to ask, I want to start with the basic questions, and then after that I want to build up from there.
The basic questions. Okay. Am I ready for this? I don't know. I got my tea here, so,
Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay. Tea? What you got? Speaking of tea,
Not that.
I definitely am going to, get the tea when I ask you some of these questions, because it's a lot of stuff that I really want to know, especially
What
with
do
your
you
time
really
with,
want to know?
especially with your time with 702 and the RCA deal and working with Missy Elliott and things like that. So I want to really get into details with that. So first I want to ask you, what was it like growing up for you?
What was it like growing up for me? Whoa.
What?
What was it like growing up for me? Growing up for me was a lot of fun. I'm Latina. I grew up in Texas. I grew up in San Antonio. There was a lot of music, a lot of just a variety of music. And I think that's where my love for music started. A lot of people in my family played music by ear. You would hear everything from Sam Cooke to Ray Charles to Donny Hathaway, all the way down to ranchero music. I mean, we would hear all kinds of music,
Wow.
and I had a respect and appreciation for music, definitely. But all in all, childhood, it was a lot of laughs, I love a good sense of humor, a lot of food, and a lot of fun, and a lot of music, So it was awesome. It was awesome. It wasn't perfect, but it was awesome.
Okay. Wait,
Yeah.
So you had a huge variety of, musical tastes growing up. So, tell me, who was your favorite artist?
Oh, my favorite artist, hands down, is Stevie Wonder.
Ooh,
Lauryn Hill.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, Lauryn
Can't argue
Hill.
with that either.
I think those by far were the most influential. I loved, I went to high school. Obviously, you did your research, about 702. I went to high school in the 90s. So, I grew up with, SWV and Mary J. Blige and Shantae Moore. And I mean, these are real vocalists here, So I'm a big fan of the runs. I'm a big fan of the control. But ultimately, I think the artists that had the most influence on me were Stevie Wonder, which he did have the runs and he did have so much control, and melodically it was just so beautiful.
Yes.
His music is just, classic. It's timeless. And then Lauryn Hill, probably the two most influential.
Oh yeah, Lauryn Hill. She made one album, and even though she only made one solo album, like that solo album,
it changed my life.
Obviously,
it really did. I mean, that's when I really started to really pay attention to the lyrics that I was listening to and allowing into my mind and then into my soul and my heart. It's crazy because what she was saying, it could transform you, and it could help, take you to just, I don't know what the word is. What am I trying to say? It was intentional what she was saying, and it was in a way that just empowered you. There's music that's the word. It was empowering, and it was more so than just like love and being up in the club. Like, it was something that had so much substance to it, and it changed my perspective of music.
Wow, really,
Yeah.
like, that's
Yeah, I'm a
strong.
deep thinker.
Changing your perspective. Wow. Okay. Okay.
I'm a deep thinker. So, you know, I don't know. I just got to be me. So.
Oh, no, it's cool. And, you know, definitely be you and be comfortable being you. And I will say that Lauryn Hill's the shit. So, you know, for you to, no, I'm just being honest with you. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, Lauryn Hill and Stevie Wonder, for you to have those elite artists as influencers, like, you know, that's fucking dope.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. And I also wanted to get into your brief history with 702.
Oh, the brief history with
yes,
702.
You know, because a lot of people didn't know you was in 702 until the Unsung episode came out. But
I know.
Right, exactly. But I want to ask you, like, what was it like auditioning to get into 702? Because I know, like, you know, they dropped Orish and they also dropped Amelia Childs because they didn't work out vocally. So tell me, you know, how you slid in there.
Okay, so first of all, you're having me go way back.
I know.
Okay, well, I went to a performing arts high school. In order to even get into the school, you had to audition with whatever your talent or skill was. You could not get in unless you could show and prove that you had some sort of talent. It was very much so like Fame.
Fame?
You know the
like
movie
singing
Fame?
Down the hallways and stuff? Like,
yes! Oh my gosh. High school was amazing, and it was in the 90s. It was awesome. I mean, and then Brandy, you know, you had Brandy, you had Monica, you had real vocalists, you know.
Y'all was in the golden era of R&B. Like, I'm jealous. I'm jealous just hearing it. Like, you know what I mean?
It was good times. It was good times. And, you know, I always appreciated my spot in the school. And funny, me and Mila are super close. We still to this day are very, very close. And
to this
day, we are still very close. We actually had a couple classes together. I think I want to say it was, you're taking me back, so just give me a second. I think it was freshman year or sophomore year in high school, and we knew that they were going to be doing some, you know, transitioning in the group, and I think they just approached Mila and myself and asked if we wanted to audition, and I think we just sang, and I probably sang like either a Mary J. Blige song or Toni Braxton. One of Toni Braxton's probably one of my go-tos back then.
Okay.
And it just kind of, you know, started taking shape in a way. At least that's what I thought. You know.
Okay. So,
yeah.
You know, because they already had a huge hit out. They already had a top 20 hit out with this little game we played with the group Subway.
Yes.
You know, so they already were gold selling artists before, you know what I mean, before debut even dropped. So, you know, for you to even, you know, join on to that, you know, how excited was you initially?
How what?
Initially, how excited was you when you got to join on to that?
Oh my gosh, I was thrilled. I was just beside myself. I mean, come on, I'm 15 years old, and you know, I'm in the school because I knew that my goals were to pursue music. Music was what it was my therapy. It was my way to express myself. It was just something that I just felt so close to, and I wanted to just enhance that. So you have this opportunity as a 15-year-old, and you're just like over the moon about it, you know. But that was my first real taste of rejection in the music industry.
Okay,
yeah.
So I want you to tell me, you know, what was it like being in 702, even if it was brief? Tell me what that experience was like anyway.
702 was awesome. The girls are phenomenal. It was, you know, I'm so young, right? I think I was just so naive, but I was a hard worker. Like if they told me something, I would do it because I wanted to show and prove that I had a place in this group. So, you know, I mean, first of all, I'm not the greatest dancer. Okay. I'll just put that out there right now. Okay. But I will work hard to try to, you know, at least, you know, aesthetically, like, you know, get the basics down, you know, but it was not just that. It was the vocal training. It was the working out. I loved all of that stuff, you know, like back then there was a lot of developing of artists, which, and it was just some sort of, you know, different approach of how they did things back in the 90s and the 80s. probably, I think the 80s, but I could just say from the 90s. But it was a lot of work. I mean, it was a lot. It was not just like, oh, we're just going to go in the studio. There was working on harmonies. There were, working with the vocal coach. There was working out. There was dance rehearsals, all of that. And it was just so much fun. It was awesome. Time flew by. I mean, we just spent a lot of time together. Now, I was only in the group for like, I don't know, 4 months, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
So did
4
you
or
guys
5 months.
did you guys record anything together while you was in the group?
So I did, well, not any leads or anything like that. Even after I was out of the group, we still did a lot of things together. When they actually their first video, Stilo, I'm in there somewhere, but
Really?
somewhere like out in the bleachers. My hair was super long and curly, but yeah. But I say all that to say that we were still super close. And I would travel with them. And that was my first time I ever did a demo. I think I was 17 years old. We traveled out to New York. They were getting ready to shoot their video. And I got to see everything. I think on their first album, I did some backgrounds.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So some of your
Yeah,
vocals are still on the first album?
Just one, I think, just one. That was my first real experience of being in the studio with Troy Taylor. He's an R&B producer. What's the name of that guy? I don't even know that. Is it Trey Songz? I think it's Trey Songz. He does a lot of R&B. That was my first real experience just being in the studio, and he just really gave me a chance to just fly and just, be creative. So it was a really awesome time. Yeah. Okay. And from there, I actually got a chance to demo. Actually, it was supposed to be a demo for me, but then SWV picked it up. It was a song called Never Found Love, something like that. But it has the Biggie, what is that? The Biggie, what is it? Sample. The Biggie sample in the back from SWV. Anyways, it was a really fun time. It was a huge, amazing experience. And yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no.
You're taking me back.
I know. I know. Because you said you was in 702, which I thought was very interesting, because I'm like, I wonder what the dynamic would have been if you would have stayed with 702.
Let me tell you, I know. I thought about that too a lot, but it just works out as it should, but
yes.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned the word rejection. So, like, how did you, how come that didn't last? Like, how come you left?
What's that?
How come you left? Like, how come that, that experience didn't last for you?
I really don't know. Still to this day, I still don't really know. I don't think it had anything to do, honestly, I don't think it had nothing to do with the girls. I think it had a lot to do with the executives and how they saw the group. I think it was a situation where they didn't think that I fit in, just being the Latina, so it was what it was. I mean, I went in there, I worked hard, I did my thing as much and as best as I could, but sometimes there's a certain aesthetic look that they want. It has nothing to do with your gift and your talent. I didn't take it like that as a 15-year-old. I mean, you just take it like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? How come I don't look like this? How come I don't sing like this? How come I don't do this? Like, I just beat myself up. And that's not healthy. That's not good. So, you can go round and round in a circle, but it's just how that one played out. It's just how that one went. But from then it gives you a thicker skin to just really just appreciate how you were made and how, everything that you have and how it just works out. So, sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it is the executives. It's a business. It's a business.
Agree. Definitely. So, thank you for telling me that, because, I've always been so curious about your experience with 702. You know what I mean? because I
Yeah.
heard your music and I heard you solo, and I'm like, she's very, very talented. Like,
Oh,
I wonder
thank
why
you.
no, for real. Like, I
Thank
heard
you.
your self-titled debut album that you was supposed to put out, and I was like, she's
Oh,
very, very talented. Like,
the
why
one
didn't
that,
they keep her?
are you talking about the one that was only released in Japan?
Yeah,
The real?
the one with the song "You, Yourself, and You."
Yeah, with Mike City. Yes. But do you see how
Yes.
that went? Do you see how that went though? Like if it's for you, it will be for you. And that was the path that was meant for me to take as a solo artist. And I learned so much and I grew so much and I evolved so much as an artist and as a woman. So I wouldn't take any of that back because all of that rejection and the no's really kind of paved the path for the yeses and the things that just made me who I am today. So I wouldn't take any of it back.
Okay. Broadway, the lyricist
That was
says
my
that was my
joint. Somebody
joint.
said that was my joint.
That's what's up, because I really
Mhm.
like that. I really like that song, "You, Yourself, and You." I really was like, wow, it could have been a nice little debut single if you would have put that out.
Yep, there was not even a video for that one. That was just a big old hot mess. It was just not the songs itself, but I really wish that there would have been an opportunity for me to even just do a visual for that. I think it would have been, a really good thing, to get the music out there and just to get it known out into the
Right,
world.
exactly. And
Yeah, but it is
I
what
do
it
want.
is. It's all good. I mean, it's still out there in the ether. So, there's just no visual for it.
It's out there on YouTube.
It's out
YouTube
there
still
on
has the
YouTube.
album. Yes. And
Yes.
YouTube has everything. Released,
You-
unreleased. YouTube has
yeah.
everything. And if
Yes.
you
I
have,
wish they would find the stuff that I did with Missy back in the day in the 90s. Oh my gosh. That music was just magical. It was beautiful. Like yeah. YouTube needs to find that.
hey, speaking of Missy Elliott, we're gonna get to that. So right out the 702,
Go to work. Look at that. Somebody said go to work.
yes. And then
Yes.
somebody
Mhm.
said the Bash experience. We're gonna
Oh,
get to
yeah.
that.
Okay.
We're gonna get to that.
I'll just keep sipping my tea. We'll get to it.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. So
Mhm.
first I want to talk about right out the 702. And so what did you right after you left the group,
Mhm.
for whatever reason.
Well, I didn't
and you
leave the
started,
group. I didn't leave the group.
Well, you were, removed for aesthetic reasons, as you put it.
Well, I don't know, but
Okay.
it just didn't. I still don't know,
Damn.
but we it's a mystery,
Did you ask Mila, like, girl, like, how come they removed
Somebody
you
said
from the
sipping my
group?
tea. Did I ask Mila? I think at 15, it's really hard to process like something as deep as rejection at such a young age, right? So I just don't
Right.
think I even had the vocabulary to even talk to someone who was my peer about something like that. I think for me, what I did was I kind of just shut down and I just stayed in my room. And my mom was like, what is going on? And I'm like, I just don't, it's hard, but you do need community. But for me, it's just, I can't dwell on that. I had to just keep it moving and just trust that, God had something awesome for me, and He did. I mean, I got 3 record deals on my own. Okay. And then,
Yes.
like the RCA, then Universal, then I was signed to Dr. Dre. I mean, so I didn't want to worry about that so much because sometimes you can get stuck in a narrative that you've outgrown. It's just sometimes it's there to help position you. That pain sometimes is there to just help position you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want to talk about, working with Missy Elliott shortly after, 702. So tell me about working with Missy.
Oh my gosh. She probably one of my most favorite, just people to work in the studio with, and I've just, in this musical journey, I've been really, really blessed to have worked with some incredibly talented people like Missy and Will.i.am and even Alicia Keys. And I mean, so many people, and she's just so down to earth. And one thing that I loved about Missy is she believed in me from the beginning. Like she executive produced my project on RCA that never came out. That's what I'm saying. If YouTube can find that, I'm telling you, she executive produced the whole, pretty much half of the material. But she just kind of just allowed me to just kind of be perfectly imperfect, and she just believed in it. And she's just so down to earth. She's so super creative. She's always laughing and smiling,
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It was awesome. And we did a lot of material out in New York. So I was out in New York a little bit from, my 20s. I was out there.
Yeah, because Missy has worked with, a lot of people, most notably, especially back then, she worked with Aaliyah, and she worked with Genuine, and she worked with a lot of other celebrities back then. And for her to work with you, that must have been an honor.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I mean, there's a lot of times, if anybody could read my journals, I can't believe some of the people that I have got to sit in a room with, that I've got to creatively, work with,
Yes, definitely. And I want to get into your debut album, or I want to get into your self-titled.
Yes, because, hold on 1 second. Hey, Phoenix, can you please turn that down? Can you please turn that down? I'm so sorry. This is good. Real life over here.
You're good. You're good. Yeah. So I want to talk about, Tiffany Villarreal, your debut self-titled. So tell me about the recording process with that.
I was super young. I mean, super young. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of the creative process. Are you talking about the one with Universal, the one with the You, Yourself, and You?
Yeah.
It was a really amazing time. I think I was just kind of like in over my head, but I was also having the time of my life, So it was awesome. I got to work with Mike City. I got to work with Chic Luch and Raekwon. That was a really, and then the rest of it was produced by Nature's Finest. So it was a really, really amazing time. And I don't know.
Okay. That's okay. Okay. So I also want to ask you, why didn't that album get a proper release?
Exactly. Okay. So my A&R at the time, they were this is what happens sometimes when you're in a record label system. Sometimes there will be people that are transitioning in and out, and they're just, they're changing a lot of people, interchanging people. So I think at that time there was a new president that was coming in who wanted to bring in a whole bunch of new artists. And then, with that, they also bring in work people too. I'm sorry. 1 second. Phoenix, I'm so sorry. Phoenix, can you please put your headphones on? Sure. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
You're good. It's okay. So continue your story. What'd you say?
What was I saying? Oh, okay. So at the time, my A&R actually, when the new president was now taking over Universal, she got let go. So everybody that was under her was pretty much either shelved or let go. So what they said was, oh, okay, well, we'll just kind of keep you on, just as a favor. But, we're really not going to, spend a whole bunch of time with it. So, I just said, well, I don't want to be anybody's favor. I don't want to just be there just to be anybody's favor. I'm just going to, if you guys don't believe in it, then I'll just, they'll just cut my losses here. So that's what happened. And
exactly.
I was 28, and I said, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm ever going to get a record deal again. But I did. God is good. God is good. So.
Oh, yeah. And, I also want to talk about, your brief history with Pharrell Williams. And I also want to talk about this.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You was in another girl group.
I was in another
Natasha
girl group.
Ramos.
Yes, and Vanessa.
Yes, and then you know what I mean, like Natasha Ramos, she's most notable for singing background vocals with Jennifer Lopez, and she also had a song called Midnight Hour that really, I guess took off on its own. And
Yes, she is. Oh, I love her voice. I love her voice. That was going to be something super special.
tell me about it. And tell me, because the group
Sometimes
called,
I will go back and listen to that music and I'm like, man, because we were really, singing on there. Like it was really awesome. I mean, it was a very short time that I was in the group, but it was a really, really special time. And those girls can sing, and those girls are so talented, and it was just an honor to be a part of that for a minute, and then to be in the studio with Pharrell, and just to work on, we only got a couple of songs done, and I think there's only one that's on YouTube, but there's a couple of other ones of, I wish those would come out too, because those are special.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was y'all like a super group, like everybody sung lead, or did they pick single one of you guys out as a lead singer?
Everybody sang lead. Somebody would take the first verse, somebody would take the second verse, somebody would take the bridge, and then we would just kind of like interchange on the ad libs. But it was really cool. Yeah.
No, I'm getting slightly.
What? How do you feel? What's going on?
Slightly pissed off because
are you? I'm so sorry.
Between you and Natasha Ramos, like y'all voices are just incredible. You know what I mean? And the
Vanessa
fact that,
too. Vanessa Marquez.
Oh yeah, and I heard Vanessa, like 3 very, very talented singers. Yo, I'm mad that I didn't get to hear that.
Sometimes, I don't want to think about it too much. I know.
Okay.
That was a really tough time. It was a hard time for me because there were no contracts that were signed, right? And the situation came in where somebody was like, "Hey, Dre wants to meet you," and so I was already working with the girls, but there was paperwork that was in the pipeline, but the paperwork never really came through. So I was talking to just a couple of advisors, and they were like, "Well, why don't you just take the meeting? Just take the meeting and just meet with them." So I said, "Okay." I mean, Dr. Dre wants to meet you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you take the meeting, right? So then I go over there and I sing a Lauryn Hill song, and he literally calls Dr. Pharrell, and it was like, "I'm signing Tiffany right now." And from there, I was literally in the studio with Dre for like a whole entire year. But it was tough though, because I mean, to be in the studio with all of that, like you've got Pharrell, and then you've got Dre, it was tough. Yeah. It was tough, a tough decision to make. But like as far as on the business standpoint, like, that was done like that day,
Wow. And yes. We got all the tea in this interview. Definitely.
How did I not know about this?
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm really enjoying this interview, and I'm really learning a lot of stuff about you that I didn't know before, as far as, details go. So, like, I knew you was in a group, 2 groups to be exact, and
two amazing groups. You got 702, and then you got Affair. That's what the Spanish girl group was called,
Affair. Yeah. That's a really pretty name.
Yeah.
I would have brought a record. Like I said, no. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're gonna get to that, okay? We're gonna get to that. It's all in my notes. We're gonna get to all of that. So don't even worry. So first I want to talk about what was it like working with Baby Bash.
Baby Bash is one of the kindest people I've met in the industry. He's super kind. It was awesome. Everything just happened so quickly. So that was the Universal era that I was in, and I was in the middle of working on my album, and an opportunity came. They were looking for a singer. They wanted a Latina singer to sing. So pretty much everything was already done. I just had to go into the studio and just do my part. And that's how that happened. And then a video was finally a video. Yay! So that was like my first debut, actually. That, yes, and then the Raekwon thing. But I think the first debut that I had video-wise was with Baby Bash. And that video just happened half a day, you know, super, super cool, super chill, lots of fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to also ask you, like, what was your first reaction when you first heard the initial song? And you know what I mean? And you learned that you're going to be singing on this. So, like, what was your, like, initial reaction?
Gosh, you want my reaction as a 22-year-old?
Yes, I do.
Oh, gosh, what was my reaction? I was excited. I was excited for any opportunity. I was, seriously, because music is what I wanted to share with the world. So I was super excited about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
And
there's nothing else more juicier than that, but that's it. I mean, that's the truth. I was just excited about it.
yes, definitely.
And then also because, you know, the Latino community too, you know, like that to me is just a big, it's a big part of me. So I wanted to, you know, this opportunity was just a way of me just showing love. So I was excited about it.
And I can imagine. And I also want to ask you, what was the biggest lesson you think you've learned from, you know, from the industry and from, you know, having all these deals and being in these groups and things like that? So what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Don't be a puppet.
I love it. Okay.
Let's see. Know who you are. Know who you are as a human being. Know what you're willing to do and what not to do. And just stand your ground on that. And don't let anybody tell you who you are and how to dress and what to sing. And just don't be a puppet. That's what I learned.
Okay.
And it's okay, you know, if people don't understand you. Just, you know, integrity is a big thing for me.
Yes, definitely. And it's great to have that, you know. So I want to ask you real quick, you know, when it comes down to being in the industry, and when it comes down to having all of those deals and having all of that rejection, like, did it come a point in time where, like, you was like, I don't even want to sing anymore because
Oh,
of,
yeah.
You know?
Are you kidding? Like every 6 months. Please. I mean,
6 months on the dot.
yes. I mean, okay. You think about it. A lot of people who do art that are creative, we've got to be in touch and sensitive with our feelings because that's what makes the best music, you know. But sometimes you can really take that to heart. You can take that to heart, and I took it to heart, you know. So, you know, every time something didn't work out, I always just said, well, it was all me, you know. But there's a lot of different moving parts and stuff, so you can't always, it's not healthy to go there, you know. But yeah, many times, but a lot of the times it just kind of was almost serendipity in a way, because an opportunity would happen again, you know. In a way, I used to always think that, you know, it was music that, like, was chasing me in a way. It was therapy for me, but then the opportunities would happen, and it's like, you know, I you know, an opportunity would happen, and then here I am again. Here's my second deal. Here another opportunity would happen. Here's a third deal. You know, it's usually always the time when I'm like, I quit. I'm done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it makes you stronger. It makes you wiser. It makes you better. It makes you just, yeah, all around. So I wouldn't take it back. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? Like, for some people, I can see some people giving up after, you know, going through what you've been through as far as being in the music industry. And the fact that you didn't give up and you put out a project. So tell me about the project you have on Spotify.
Oh, the Wildflower Project. That was just that was just a personal, it was a therapeutic project for me, honestly. It was. I mean, music was always therapy for me. It was always a way to communicate how I felt and just where I was at the moment. And for me, it was something I needed to empower myself, because I you know, was going through some things personally, and I needed to find a way to remind myself of who I was, because I was just like, you know, sometimes you did life, right? So for me, it was music that really helped me just to get out of that hole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, if you listen to the songs, of course, remember I told you that music, like I'm really intentional about the lyrics that I sing on, because I understand that music, thank you for the heart. I really, I believe that whatever it is that you listen to gets into your mind and your heart, and then you become that. So I'm really like, once I started listening, like, why am I listening to this? And then, I started to have a certain mindset. And then, I was dancing at the clubs and I would listen to the lyrics and I'm like, why am I dancing to this? This is just degrading. It's awful. It's objectifying. So then I said to myself, if I'm ever going to do music, I've had to turn a lot of things down actually, because it just like, it didn't reflect my heart. Like, I'm not going to be singing about certain things that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be doing, and I'm not judging anybody, but just for me, like, I've had to turn certain things down, because I'm not going to sing on your song and you're talking about this, and then I have to talk about something that is objectifying a woman. I'm not going to do it. So
Okay.
it's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just went off on a tangent.
No. Feel comfortable and feel free to talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. You know what I mean? Where it's all love here. So
well, what it was is, at that time, I mean, music is really therapeutic, but I was super intentional about what it was that I was saying, and hoping that somebody else who had went through a heartbreak or a hard time or whatever could take from it and learn from it and be empowered by it. So that's why when I decided I was going to start, self-distributing stuff on my own, not going through record labels, and just really just taking more ownership of my music and what it is that I wanted to talk about and all of that kind of stuff, like that's where that whole thing just, started. It just, for me, it was therapeutic, and I was intentional about it, and I was in charge, and I loved it. I didn't have anybody telling me what to do, what to wear or what not to wear, or what to sing. I was in charge of all of that, and I loved it.
And I'm not surprised, because the difference between putting out your own projects and actually being in the industry is that the industry, you're kind of just basically just a pawn. Like, they're just, they're telling you have to be marketable, you have to be commercial, so
you have to be sexy, you have to be, sassy, you have to talk like this, you have to, how about just be who you are as an artist? Like, it's just like one dimension, one color. It's, if you like, do you understand what I'm saying? It's just like, you have to fit this mold of whatever is trending, and I've never been like that, and I'm not going to apologize for that, and maybe that's why, but maybe that's why things just didn't, the music industry just didn't ever get me, because I wasn't willing to play the game of just being a pawn. That's how I felt. But I still do music. That sounds right. So crazy.
No, you don't sound crazy at all. You just sound like yourself. So,
I wasn't really a big fan of the music industry. I hated that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's understandable why you hated it, because, like I said, the music industry is very shady, and sometimes, they take advantage of, young women like yourselves. Oh. Like, they'll say, like, you have to, get in the bed and do this and this, you know what I mean? And then maybe I'll put out your album, like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, they'll try to take advantage of young women, you know what I mean?
100%. And for me, I didn't want to play that game. I didn't want to be a part of that. It was just, okay. Yeah, there's certain things I was not willing to do. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. We're gonna leave it at that. So, I do want to talk about Wildflower just a little bit more. Yes. One of my favorite tracks was the standout track, was the title track, Wildflower. I think you mentioned that love is an inside job on that track.
Yes, it is.
Something like that. And I was listening to it. I'm like, this is really encouraging. Like, it's really like, yes. Like, I feel good after listening to the album.
Because, dude, I just wish that people would understand that music is so powerful. Whatever you listen to, it really affects how you see yourself, how you see the world, just your point of view. It's so powerful, and sometimes I get upset because I think some artists need to be held accountable for that, because they really can change how we perceive the world. So I did all that with intention, because I just feel like, especially people need to remember these beautiful things about themselves. Like, it's not just about ego. It's not just about materialistic things. It's not just about what it is that you can get and how many girls and whatever. It's not just about that. I mean, there's so much beauty in this world. And that's why I love Stevie Wonder, because Stevie always talked about something that had substance. You know, Lauryn Hill, like I told you, that changed everything for me. I was going down a different road. Then I started really listening to the lyrics, and I'm like, oh, that's the kind of artist that inspires me, because I get inspired with that kind of music. The other stuff makes me not feel, I don't like the way this makes me feel. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person. No, I don't want to have to do that in order to get there. There's got to be another way.
Right. Who wouldn't get inspired by how you gonna win when you ain't right within? Like, who's not gonna get inspired by that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like, I totally agree. So also, I want to talk about, you know, have you ever ventured off in anything else? Like, have you ever wanted to do acting or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm open to it. For sure.
Okay.
Because the entertainment business is so influential. But, you know, I'm just open to doing certain things that would build community, things that would empower people, things that would especially help women see something different than what is portrayed. And there are some things out there, but those are the things that I would be interested in doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to get on to another subject. Tell me what it's like being a mom, because I know you're a mother now.
Yeah, I'm a single mom.
Wow.
It's the hardest job of my life.
Okay.
But it's the most rewarding.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you summed it up. You summed it up pretty well. So I want to ask you, you know, how did it change your life? Like, when you first found out, like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. Like, how did that change your life?
Well, I was still out gigging probably until maybe I was 7 months. And then I just realized that I just couldn't be out there, you know, it was just, you know, too much. So then I had to switch and really just change everything, because, you know, a lot of the gigs that I would do were from 10 to 2 in the morning.
Wow.
And as a mom, I really can't be, you know, if I've got a newborn, I can't just be out there at 10 to 2 in the morning with my child, you know. So I really had to just switch a lot of things that I would do in my day to day. So that's why when I did Wildflower, I recorded all of that at home, you know. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But as far as like doing live shows and stuff like that, it's just not happening right now.
Well, you know, COVID kind of, you know, shut that down in 2020 when it comes down to doing live shows. So,
well, there was Lollapalooza. I think they just had like this huge thing.
Yeah. Well, they're starting them back up again.
They're starting it back up again. Yeah. But then, you know, I just think about, I don't know if I need to, maybe when he gets older, he just turned 7. So maybe when he gets older, he can hang out. I mean, I did that a couple of times, but it was a lot because my eyes are on him, and then I'm trying to remember the lyrics. So it's just too much for me. So, you know, I think I'm in a different season right now where it's just motherhood. So I think when the time comes, you know, if it happens, if an opportunity happens, then that's what I'll do. But right now, it's just, I feel like this is the season where I'm just, you know, motherhood.
No, I get it. I definitely get that. And I want to ask you something real quick, because we're going to hop back into, you know, your career, because, you know, there's a couple other questions I want to ask you real quick that some people may or may not know about. Don't worry. The tea ain't, you know, the tea ain't that hot. You know, it's just some stuff that, you know, I want to go over. Like, you did The Hood with Raycon.
Yes.
Tell me what that was like.
Oh, man. That was wild.
I want to hear it.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, it's a lot of hurry up, right? And it's just like, oh, here's an opportunity. Okay, you got to be here in 3 hours. Get on a plane, and then, all of a sudden shoot a video, and then go into the studio and do some vocals, and then go on the Apollo. Like it all happened so fast, which was awesome, and it was wild. And I mean, that was my first time. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, here I was, this girl. I'm from Texas. And music was always around me. And now I'm like, flying to New York, and I'm working with people in the industry. So it was just wild and awesome. And I think I was so nervous doing that video. But there's something just switched within me, and I just, just everyththing just came out, in the video, and I'm really happy with how the video came out. It was a lot of fun. Raekwon was super sweet, and in turn what he did was he was on my album from RCA, which was fantastic. So it was really good times. I mean, there's some good people in the industry. There are some good people in the industry.
Yes.
And there's some that are not. But that's just in every.
Ooh, okay.
That's just in every company, every field.
I feel like you holding back just a little bit, but we gonna let you slide for now. I want to talk about Tupac, because you was on Tupac too. Tupac's album To the End of Time.
Oh wow! So you did your research. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Yeah.
That must have been a great accomplishment to be on a legendary album like that.
Yeah, but I always, it's something that I'm not too proud of, honestly.
Why?
Well, no. Me as a woman, as a standpoint, because at that time I wasn't really listening to the lyrics, and that's when things started to shift in me. And when I started really listening to the lyrics, for me, of course, I'm not saying anything about Tupac. I mean, he's incredibly talented, and I mean, he's got. Right? He's Tupac, but for me, I just kind of was not proud of the work that I did because of the message that I put out there with that. So that's when things really started to shift within me. Like, what are your intentions with this? Are you just doing this to be famous and to be seen, or are you doing this because you really want to impact and empower people's lives? So I had to sit down and have a conversation with myself. Like, what kind of person do you want to be? How do you want to sleep at night? So, yes, I did do that song. Yes, there was a plaque, but I'm not proud of it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is your truth.
Dang it.
This is your story. So, don't be ashamed about telling your story. You know what I mean? Because, I'm just here to listen. And, because I really thought that was very interesting that you, sung on Tupac's album, but also, let's move on. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, when that happened, he had already passed, so I never really met him. It was just an opportunity where they were getting ready to release some music that had never been heard, and they were looking for vocalists to sing, and it was an opportunity that came up, and the song was already done, and it was just, again, you just go in there and do the recording. So that was another conversation I had to have with myself, like, are you just a puppet? Are you a robot? Are you just going to sing whatever they tell you to? Are you, what is it that you want to do? But, I mean, I've obviously grown so much since then. But, I mean, I was 22. I was just a baby.
Right.
So I just kind of was like, I don't want to mess up this opportunity. I'm just gonna play ball and just be a team player. But you got to be able to sleep well at night. And that was my issue with the industry.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I'm so intentional too, because, once you put stuff out there in the ether, it doesn't go anywhere. So you really, really, really got to really be intentional with what type of art you want to leave out into this world. And for me, that's, again, the conversations that I have, and I want to empower and impact in a positive way versus be more a part of the same narrative.
Right, exactly. Wow, and the fact that you had so much, self-awareness and so much self-reflection and the fact that you realize, like, yo, like, you know, even though I am in the industry, and of course, you know, who would pass up an opportunity to be on a Tupac album? But at the same time, you know, of course, you had to ask yourself, like, what the hell am I doing? So I'm glad that you had that conversation with yourself, because there's a lot of artists that are in the industry currently that have not had that conversation, or have had that conversation and are still doing what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and let me tell you, after Tupac, that wasn't the only opportunity that I had to get on certain songs. But what I do now is I'll look and listen to whatever it is that they're sending me, and if it doesn't reflect who I am, I'm not doing it. And it, you know, I still get flack to this day, like, you turned down this amount of money, you turned down X, Y, and Z. But you know what? Like, you can't pay for class, you can't pay for integrity, you can't pay for, you know, like, I sleep well at night, and it's hard, but I'm really passionate about that, you know, what you put out into the world.
Yes, definitely.
You know, so, and I'm a deep thinker. I think sometimes I think too much. That's why I need my friends.
No. There's nothing wrong with being a deep thinker. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Broadway, the lyricist, says the fact that you were that young asking yourself those difficult questions. Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, you know what I mean? And the thing is that for you to be, you know, 22 years old, a lot of 22-year-olds are thinking, you know, I get the opportunity to do this, and that. You know, let me just go do that anyway, because, you know, even because I just want to, you know, be seen. And the fact that you are not desperate to be seen, you know, that says a lot.
I think we all have that in us, though. But I think it's really just listening to it. And when opportunities would come, I'll never forget. I know this is going to sound really crazy, but this is, you know, real music industry stuff. There was a couple of men's magazines, and, oh, you got to do this because it's good promotion, right? And I don't want to do it. I don't want to wear underwear. I don't want to wear swimsuits. What does it have to do with my music? And so I get there, and I'm extremely nervous. I've never seen any of these outfits before. It's not me, and they could tell that I'm super nervous about the whole thing, about the shoot. And they're like, you know, would you like to have some vodka? It's 8:30 in the morning, you know, and it's crazy because that intuition is there. Whether you're 22, whether you're 12, whether you're 32, it's there. And what I did was I listened to it, and I just felt like, you know how they say sometimes man's rejection is God's protection. I think I would have been a hot mess if I would have continued down that path. You know, how many people have had drug overdoses, have alcohol, suicide. This is real stuff. So you really gotta just be super grounded. And at 22, it's hard to be grounded. I mean, I read a lot of books, and then, you know, I got closer to God. I think all of this definitely brought me closer to God, all of it. But you know, it's very real how they will make you do stuff for the brand, for the company, for the sales. And I just decided that my body is not for sale, and certain things are just not for sale. And I just had to stick with that. And like I said, I sleep well at night, and I have integrity, and those things you cannot buy. You can't buy class. You can't buy, you know, peace. I don't care how many times you go into a Louis Vuitton store. You can't buy peace. So you really got to protect your mind and your heart, especially when you're dealing with the music industry, because there's some vultures out there. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And there's, you know, and people have to realize, you know, once you make a decision, there's some decisions that you definitely cannot take back, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and in some cases you can't, you know, some people will even go as far as, you know, selling their body and even selling their soul to be in the industry. And the fact that you didn't do either, you know, says a lot about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know,
and you know, it's so beautiful, whatever the pathway is, you know, like whatever it is that you do, if you stand in integrity and do music that has, you know, meaning, and it's impactful in a positive way, no one can take that away from you. No one can. And you can still look back. You can still look back at the work that you've done. No one can take that away from you, and the people that you've worked with and the places that you've went. I'm a pioneer in my family, you know, and all of the stuff that I went through, no one can take that away. So it doesn't, does that make any kind of sense? Like,
No, it makes sense.
It builds up the person, and you still are intact and whole, and you still have your soul, and you still have, just a good head on your shoulders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like, it's like, what good is it to have $1 million record deal and to have, millions of dollars in your bank account when, you look up and you don't have anything else?
You literally, like, what good is it to have the whole world, have the entire record deal, but you've given up your soul, you've given up a sense of who you are, you've given up what truly matters to you. I've seen it so many times, just, hearing stories and seeing it with my own eyes. And you really have to ask yourself, because it looks awesome when you see it on TV and you see the music video and you hear the lyrics and you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. No, it's not. Because when you get there and you see how messed up these people are, you're like, why am I following this person? Their life isn't even, their life isn't even like all intact.
Right, exactly.
Why am I listening to this when, their life is a mess. Like, you really got to be intentional who you let speak into your life, even lyric wise. Like, it's so sneaky, but it's so effective. It's crazy. Anyways.
No, you're good. You're good. So okay. I also want to, because you also sung on, correct me if I'm wrong, but you work with Flow Rider, right?
Yeah.
And you sung on the song In the Air, right? In the Air.
Well, you totally did your research.
Which was a top 10 single at the time, top 10 Billboard single at the time. And,
that was a huge blessing. Yeah.
And then, the messed up thing is I saw, on YouTube, they instead of
Fergie
giving you credit, they gave Fergie credit and was like, these are Fergie's vocals. And then I'm like, no, this is Tiffany Villarreal's vocals. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It kind of like, I wouldn't say it pissed me off, but I'm like, why wasn't you, invited to a music video or anything like that? Or was your job background vocals?
Honestly, I never met Flow Rider. I did all of my music with will.i.am. I went to his house, recorded the music. He's incredibly super creative, super nice, super down to earth. I really just loved his whole energy. So smart. Oh, yeah. But it was really cool. He had this really cool studio, like, downstairs in his house, and everything, like, even just the frames in his house everything was so cool. It was awesome. He's super creative. Yeah. But I recorded there, and I never met Flow Rider. I just did all of the vocals with will.i.am, and he made the magic. He's the one who put it together. So, and it was fine with me, like, it wasn't about that for me. Like, it wasn't anything that was asked either of me. So, but I didn't, at that point, I had been through so much. I was like, I'm not taking none of this personal. It has nothing to do with me. So, I was just grateful for the opportunity.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You know what I mean? And like I said, that's a great opportunity to work with freaking will.i.am. That especially back then, he was huge. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and even today, like, he's still big today. And, I also want to ask you, I only got a couple more questions to ask you, by the way.
Okay.
So real quick, we talked about, your relationship with Camila. So, like, did you have a really good relationship with Misha and Irish also?
Misha used to be my roommate for 5 seconds.
What?
Yep, in Vegas. She used to be my roommate for just a quick minute. And that was fun. I have to tell you, there was one time she made, never mind. You know what? I'm not going to say anything. What was your question?
So you're not spilling no tea. Okay.
No, there's no tea to be spilled. None. I love those girls. Seriously. And Misha was my roommate for a second. She was a great roommate. Seriously. I was super young. But I just remember her and I were roommates out in Vegas for just a quick minute. She was hardly ever there because, she was always on tour, so it was pretty much like my place. So it was nice, though. We were both two, musicians, and hello. We're just two musicians, and it was fantastic. But my relationship with Mila has been very consistent. Um, we are both born in the month of March in the same year. We have known each other since high school, uh, and we've just kind of just kept in touch. You know, she's awesome. I just spoke to her like 3 days ago. You know, so it's crazy. It's like over 22 years strong. You know, we're just, we're still in each other's lives. We check up on each other and all of that. She's just a week older than me. So that was like our bonding
Wow.
point too. And she's always like, oh, you're my Pisces friend. And I'm like, oh. And then, yeah, and the music too. So.
Okay, definitely. So like I said, I only have one or two more questions to ask you, and then we're going to let you get up out of here. You've been great. You know what I mean?
Thank
No,
you.
you've been great. I love this interview.
You know what? I really appreciate what you do, and you give people a platform just to, just share whatever it is they're doing or their journey or, So thank you for what you do.
No, and thank you for accepting the interview because look, I
almost didn't see it. I almost did not see it.
Yeah, it ended up in your spam, but we don't, we're not gonna get into that. But
it was meant to be because here we are. Yes,
definitely.
Keep doing what you're doing. I think this is incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're great. You're a great podcaster, a great interviewer. You do your research. That's
Thank
big.
you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. And I started this podcast less than 2 months ago, and
wow.
I honestly thought to myself, like, I really want to interview people, but who is going to accept an interview from like a startup podcast? You know what I mean? And for me to get like the interviews that I've gotten, like it surprised me, the yeses that I've gotten. You know what I mean? Of course, like when you're a podcaster, you get a lot of no's, but like the yeses that I've gotten, including this one, I'm really appreciative of. You know what I mean? So like, it's like, that's why I'm so thankful for every single interview. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
just don't even worry about those no's because the no's it's just a reappointment. That's all. Just keep it up. I think that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. The real Cameron Haley says, do you think you could ever share the music what you did with Missy?
Oh, I wish. If I knew where it was.
I wish
don't know
you
where
had
it
Missy's
was.
phone number. Just call her up like, girl, like, where my music at?
I wish. Oh my gosh, I wish. Yeah. No.
So
if I had it, I would secretly put it out on YouTube somewhere by some anonymous person. I would do it, but yeah, I'm sure somebody has it somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it should end up on YouTube if they do. You know what I mean?
Yes. Do it. Whoever.
Do it.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, like, real quick, like, what is your life like right now?
What is my life? Oh, big questions. I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, it's kind of like my second act in a way. So it's a really beautiful time of new beginnings, and it's just a way of me reinventing myself. Music will always be a part of me, always. I don't particularly like every single thing that I hear, but I do like what I like. I mean, Stevie Wonder and, honestly, I haven't heard the radio, and I sound so crazy, but I don't really listen to the radio like that because when I have heard something, it just really breaks my heart. Just hearing some of the stuff that I do hear lyric-wise, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so heartbreaking, and it's, so, my heart breaks for just the posture of how the music industry, I feel it breaks my heart. So, but I do listen to music that does inspire me. But back to, where I'm at right now, it's just it's a beautiful place of just new beginnings where music will always be a part of that journey. Whatever that is, whether it's me doing a gospel album, whether it's me just kind of being behind the scenes, or whatever that is, music is it's a huge thread of just a fabric of who I am. And that's never going to go away. But the beautiful thing about just humanity is just there's so many different ways we can reinvent ourselves. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And
Okay.
yeah, so I'm just excited. I don't have it all figured out right now. But I am excited about the new beginnings, the second act, the new chapter. And that's,
I'm excited for you, yes.
Thank you. And when I figure that out, I will let you know. I'm a human being who does not have all of the answers, but I know that the answers will come when they're supposed to come. And I'm open to that. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. You know, and I want to ask you, where do you currently reside right now?
I'm in LA. I'm in LA. Where are you?
Phoenix, Arizona. So we're not too far.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm out here in LA. I thought about moving. But I just, that's one thing I know for sure is as of right now, I prayed about it and I really feel like I'm supposed to be here for some reason. And so I don't have the answers for that. But, I consider moving to Texas and moving to Arizona actually. But I just really feel like right now to be planted here in LA. So we'll see what happens,
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, and then another thing you don't know about me is I'm also, just like Camila and just like, 702, I'm also from Vegas.
You're from Vegas? What? Oh my gosh. What school did you go to?
Well, I went to Brindley Middle School in middle school. I went to Berkeley Elementary School. I went to Spring Valley High School, and I also went to Clark High School. I graduated from Clark High School. So, yeah, I've actually grew up in Vegas and from basically birth until 25 years old, and that's when I moved to Phoenix.
What made you want to move to Phoenix?
I needed a new start, and I felt confined in Vegas. I felt like, I was in a bubble, and I felt like, if I don't leave Vegas, I'm never going to leave Vegas.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't like that. I don't like feeling confined, and that's why I moved.
Yeah. It's funny because my son's name is Phoenix. Fun fact.
A lot of coincidences.
Vegas, Phoenix, yeah. That's awesome. Well, I completely understand the feeling of being confined, but Vegas is a great place. Somebody said, please move back to Vegas. I think I saw that. Please.
Yes.
Somebody said, there's amazing opportunities out in Vegas, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And right now you just bloom where you're planted, right? I know that sounds cliche, but that's kind of where it is right now. So
yes,
I'm having a good time just trying to figure it all out. Not take it all too seriously. And just laugh a lot and drink a lot of tea and get outside.
Drink a lot of tea, spill a lot of tea.
There's no tea was spilt today. Just the truth, just my truth. That's all.
Yes, definitely. Somebody said, could you please introduce a good podcast for being fluently? This one right here. Listen to this one. And also, there's another podcast that you was on that, I really liked.
Me?
Yes. I want to talk the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast that you're on.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
That one.
Okay, with Amy. Yes, that was awesome. We actually, she used from the Wildflower EP, she used the Woman song on there, which there was a visual for that. And it was just an honor that she, of all songs that she could have picked, she picked that one. But also what she first said was I listened to the lyrics and it really moved me. And so, for me, and I love the fact that she interviews all women from across the spectrum. I'm talking about photographers, stay-at-home moms, singers, writers, doctors, lawyers, athletes. I mean, there's so many beautiful things that you can do besides just being a artist, and I think that needs to really have a platform and a place for people to see themselves in, not just in the music video,
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, that was awesome. I was grateful for the opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we are going to get you up out of here because, we know you got things to do. And, thank you so much for this interview once again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I am pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
All right,
you.
you take care.
Yeah, hopefully we get to meet again.
Yes, sounds good. Take care out there.
All right.
Okay.
All right, take
Bye.
care.